Okay, here we go with the next section, and we're gonna do all the furniture at the Cat Cafe Garden. The first thing we're going to start with is a European dining table. We'll start out nice and easy. This one, you're just going to put this little, oh gosh, I guess it would be a U onto the round circle. And then you're going to put two little side pieces to make a total of like a big X. Or four legs, kind of. This one's pretty easy, and don't worry about over gluing. You can always smear some of the excess off, but just make sure you use the glue that dries clear. And you're fine. Next up, we're going to do the chairs that go with the table. These are pretty little blue chairs. And you're going to start with just gluing the little seat on. I like to lay it as flat as possible so that it's nice and straight. And then I let this bottom part dry completely before moving on to the next step. Now we're going to put the legs on. You're going to notice that it kicks out on one side. It kind of looks like the pi symbol. 314, blah, 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 you know. So make sure that little kick out leg goes in the front. That's the only difference. It makes it easy if you do it on the side like this, because then you can make everything nice and straight. A straight posture spine. And this is what I mean. If you did it all laying down, it'll be all nice and straight. And it'll stay up. It'll stand up straight, basically. And if you do it right, no wobbles. Perfect. And now we're going to make the high stools. I would say out of this group, this is probably the trickiest project, only because, well, I mean, it's not entirely hard, but it's got a lot of parts and pieces that could go wrong. So you're going to cut out these little templates, the black ones and the white ones. It wants you to double this white filling material. It's like a white felt almost. I only put one single ply, and I'm kind of glad that I didn't do 2 layers because I don't think it would fit in the next step. You're going to see in the instructions they wanted like a littler one on top of a bigger one. I just did it one level and just stuck it directly to that white piece. And then I stuck it directly to the pink material, making sure the fuzzy side is out and making sure that you have enough space in between so that you can overlap it. I use my finger as a spacer. And when you cut these out, you're going to see that I left enough space. You can definitely, they have a template of the little, it looks like a little flower, but I just basically cut around it with plenty of room all the way around, and then I made slices all the way around. So side, 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 and kept them pretty even, and then I folded it over. When I did this part, I did it just a little at a time, so I kind of did 4 little petals, I guess you would call them, and clipped it with a clothespin, and then let that dry, and then I did the rest until you went all the way around. Now once that all dried, you're going to get these little funny looking little cushions, and then you're going to put it on, you're going to kind of push it through the rings is what they want you to do. Now this is where things went a little bit sideways. So the first one went just fine. When I did the second one, it fell all to pieces. I think it was it must have had a crack in it or something. I'm not pushing very hard, by the way. And you're going to see what I mean. If I had done 2 layers, this would have been even worse. And there you go. It just broke. So, not a problem. There's no mistakes, right? I just glued the heck out of it and then clothespinned it and set it aside until it was completely dry. Just kind of try to save all the little chips and pieces. It literally just crumbled, but it's fixable. And so you can see here, I let it dry, and it looks a little rough, but that's okay. We got another couple steps that we're going to try to salvage this. Yeah, I don't know how 2 layers of poof would have fit in these little circles. And then you just put the backing on. When I put the backings on, you're going to see that the pink shows. I tried to squish it down as much as I could. I just clipped it and let it dry until I get to the next steps. While those are drying, I'm going to make the legs, and you're going to stick these little tiny little pieces onto the bottoms. You just line them up with that cross beam, and you're going to make a little, it looks like a little ladder kind of. And again, I use my table as my flat surface to keep it nice and straight as possible. Don't beat yourself up if it's not perfect. It's okay. And now we're going to unclothespin our seats. I squished it down as far as I possibly could with the glue, and then we're going to glue the legs on there. I just did it all in one swoop. And if you did everything right, I think the hardest part of this whole thing is get everything lined up. Just take your time, fidget with it a little bit, and you'll get it. And now that they're all dry, you're going to see that pink material shows through. Not a problem. And then the one that broke is a little rough. I'm just going to dab it with some black paint, and it will turn out just fine, like nothing happened. And next up, we're going to do a little menu board. This one's very, very easy. You're just going to stick the piece of paper on. And now you're going to stick the legs on. And last, the little kitty cat to perch on top. And now we're going to make a little tatami tables. And they look like little cat paws. The only thing you want to watch is there is an angle on all these little feet, and that does mean something. You're going to make it kind of like a little firework explosion shape. So make sure all your angles are facing out. This one's a little tricky. You might have to do like one leg at a time, let it dry, because they do tip over very easily. But just fidget with it a little bit, and I flipped them over, made sure it stood up straight, and you're good. I do 2 of these, no problem. And once they're done and they lay flat, ta-da, you got 2 little cute little tables. Next up, we're going to do a coffee cabinet. This looks like it should be super complicated, but it's not. It's actually easier than the stools. First, we're going to take this little fake wood piece of paper, and we're going to cover the countertop with it. So just cut it out, and you're going to wrap it up. You can pre-fold these. I found it easier just to glue it directly onto the piece of wood and then fold it as it's on the wood. Use the, right here, use the wood as my crease maker. Once you got that all folded and set, I just set it aside. I flattened it a little bit more under a brick and then go on to the next step. And basically you're going to make a little box. So go by that AB diagram of what goes on the inside, what goes on the outside. It's very important, otherwise your countertop won't fit. Once you got that all done, you just stick the top on, and then this is right when you know that you did it right. It'll all fit. And now we're going to add a little bit of fanciness. So they want these little medallions in the corners. Easy enough. Again, we're using glue that dries completely clear. So no matter how much you globber, not a big deal. Don't beat yourself up. This is supposed to be fun, right? So just take your time, stick it on there, and then same goes for the little knobs. The knobs were probably the trickiest one, just to keep them even. I used my X-Acto knife to kind of even them out as best I could, and there you go. And you got one more piece of furniture. It's just a little coffee shelf for coffee, I guess. And it can't be any easier. You're just making a little box. So again, pay attention to what goes on the inside and what goes on the outside, and you'll be golden. And there you go. You got all the furniture done. This is after it dried pretty much, and just brush it off. All the little extra globs usually kind of come off pretty easy, like rubber cement kind of. And we'll go on to the next. I think these turned out pretty nice. Even those stools, you would never know that one of them's broken. And that's the beauty of making it yourself. You can make it however you want. So next up, we're going to do all the teeny tiny little food. So stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.